Welcome, Patti, to our podcast. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Sophia?
I'm good. It's been a very lovely morning.
Fantastic.
So today I wanted to touch on a sort of vague topic, but an interesting one. We use this word so much in our day-to-day life. It's energy.
Yes.
I feel energetic, or I don't feel the energy. I am low on my energy, or I don't like this person's energy. I don't, I like this person's energy. So what is this energy that is so integrated in our life?
Well, we also call it vibe.
Yeah.
I'm really vibing with the
The good vibes or the bad vibes.
We've got good vibes, we've got bad vibes. And it's a frequency. We're talking about when we're talking about vibration. Vibes is short for vibration. The energy is the mass of that vibration and what it's sometimes telling us. Now, sometimes we objectify by saying, oh, it's that thing that is giving me the bad vibe.
Yeah.
But it really was the thing from yesterday that went unresolved. And now you feel regret and depleted because you didn't speak up. And now you are saying it's this thing or this person or whatever is triggering you. But really it's unresolved things so it's difficult to know whether and I'm not saying that you can't be, like we're like fish in water. We've got vibrations happening all over us, but why are we creating other things, vibrations to be greater than our own?
Yeah.
Because we're not connected to our own vibration. We're not tuned into our own vibration. We're walking about untuned, being affected by other people's vibes, other people's frequencies more than our own because we have no set point. That's why, when I attune people, I'm really kind of tuning them in, finding their, Sophia 97.5 FM tuned in. So there's no interference.
There's no static overlapping with each other.
Exactly. Because, sometimes like say you go to a party and all of a sudden you feel great. Everything's good. You walk into that party and the energy is just dense.
Yeah.
And there's something not quite aligned. And you know it and you can feel it. And what do? Do you leave? Now, if you aren't kind of tuned in to yourself and you walk in and you don't really pick up on that.
And it started already meshing with your energy because you never defined what set point you had.
Yes, or you're desperate to meet people. We're desperate to meet someone or network the room than actually feel the dense energy that is happening over here. And sometimes we do that. We go out and we're like, oh God, I hope I don't meet someone that's gonna, whatever they're gonna do. You're always looking for the negative.
Yeah.
You'll always find it. It'll buy you a drink.
Yeah.
Or it will eyeball you as you come through the door. But you went in looking for that. Who do I need to stay away from tonight? Who do I need to dodge? Rather than, who am I going to make friends with tonight? Who am I going to meet I'm going to collaborate with?
Yeah.
You go in looking for that, do you? Because if you went in looking for that, you would find that too, in amongst all the vibration. And sometimes there is a dense energy at a place, you know it. There's something going on. And if that's the case, it's like when I was looking for restaurants to have a birthday party, I would go in and I'd feel the energy and the staff and see what felt right. And, when I found something that was, and I trusted that. Just like when people go and buy a house. I mean, they can be 3 bedrooms, they all look the same, but this one has the right vibe.
Wow.
This one has the right energy.
Wow. And when you step in, the difference between the two right away.
Yes. And that is also the location, as well, the vortex of the ley lines, of this is the right space for you energetically.
The geophysical coordinates.
Yeah. So honestly, it's important. There's certain, that you feel better when you're in a certain part of town, that you feel more alive, or, so why are you not living there? Why are you living in this other place that you feel depressed every time you get over the county line?
Yeah. No, totally. And it's a vibration of places. Some places we flourish and some places we flourish, but then we continue to be there.
Well, you understand that as being Indian, because this is a very big part of the astrology in India. When they look at certain places that you will flourish in with work or love or whatever, or in the West Coast or the East Coast, or this is a good city for you. I remember there was a friend of mine that came from Miami. Before I met him in Miami, he had come to Los Angeles, and he said it was just parking ticket after parking ticket, car getting towed, just problem with the apartment. There was just all these things. It was like a comedy of errors.
Yeah.
And he said just the city just wasn't right for him, and he moved. He listened to that.
Yeah.
And he regretted it, and then he moved, and then I met him, and then he started this little business that then he got the keys to the city of Miami.
Wow.
Because that was the space, that was the energetic center that was going to give him everything.
Yeah. And we, a part of us desires to have these things, and at the same time, if we are not in the right, that's why they say the right place at the right time.
Yes.
And that's just a synchrony of energetic vibrations working all together.
Because it's like a, time is a coordinate.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a coordinate. It's like, it's the longitude and the latitude in space.
Yes.
So that's why saying it's the being in the right place at the right time. It's like we are going through as an event through time and space, being in that right time and space to flourish. And that's why it's important to be aligned with, it's like deja vu. For me, deja vu is that, I'm on the right coordinates. I've seen this before.
Yeah, it's like putting the pegs, like circle goes in the circle, a square goes in the square.
So like a blip in the system, going back to the Matrix, remember when the black cat comes in?
Yeah.
It's that blip in the system of like, oh yeah, I've seen this.
So when people talk about energy, and we've got into this almost like urban language of like, oh, that person has such negative vibrations. What do you think about that?
You got it.
Well, would you explain that a little bit more to our audience?
Well, if you're looking at someone that's always got these negative vibrations, maybe you should look at the negative vibrations that you are identifying, because you can only identify it if you have it.
Okay.
It's like someone saying, randomly, oh, I just felt, I felt guilty. I felt sad all of a sudden. Well, why sadness? Why did you pick that word? Why not annoyed? Why not let down? Why not disappointed? Well, I'm not sad or anything. I'm not guilty, or I don't feel. Why not another word? Right? Because usually it's said with the I'm not bothered, I'm not annoyed, I'm not. So it's that same thing. If you're looking at it, then there must be a part of you that is resonating with it, because like attracts like. So when we are looking at a person's negativity, whether they are complaining And I think that's one is when we are really seeing someone that has a good life, or what we consider a good life, or and they're complaining, and we're like, oh, they're so negative, because we would never see someone so negative that has had some things happen to them.
Yeah.
You know, if someone, say, lost their cat or their dog, and then on their mother's sick, we wouldn't turn around and say, gosh, they're so negative.
No.
We would be
empathetic,
understanding and empathetic and compassionate.
Yeah.
But when we are saying that someone is negative, we're making a judgment that person is nothing negative to be negative about.
Mm-hmm.
They're really complaining about, and sometimes people complain about good stuff. You know, like I had someone the other week there, I had to walk out the shop, she was complaining constantly about her fabulous trip to Italy. And all the places that she loved to go in Italy, and complained about all the things that she would never do when she was traveling. So there was a lot of complaining going on about this fabulous trip.
Yeah.
And I think that's when we say something is negative. They're being so negative when they have nothing to be negative about. But that's just that person who they actually enjoy complaining for whatever reason about their what they have. You know what I mean? Or maybe they just find it difficult to be grateful, and actually don't have the language to enjoy, so they go to the complaining. So it's very, very tricky, this person's being negative. You know, because to me it's an unmet need, really. You know, what they're saying is they have this fabulous holiday that they went on, and still they're unhappy.
They're unfulfilled from that trip.
Still they feel unhappy. Still they feel unhappy in their relationship, even though they were with their partner. Still they feel unfulfilled. Exactly. And that's really what's really going on.
Yeah. So people,
that's quite sad. So it's not negative.
Yeah.
If you really understand and I think people don't understand what they're hearing. They're just hearing the complaining, and they are like, oh, it's negative.
Yeah. There's no compassion in that then.
None. People don't have empathy and compassion when people are complaining about things that they think, judging that they have nothing to complain about.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like a big conclusion on what others should feel about a certain situation.
Yes. Rather than letting people complain about whatever they want to complain about. That's for them to figure out that, why am I doing that? Why am I feeling so unfulfilled when I'm having the life that I want? And that's for them to kind of look at and self-inquire. But you have to listen to it, whether you get taken hostage at lunch by a friend.
Yeah. How do you deal with that?
Well, then you're participating in being a hostage. And you're participating in this behavior. So you can either not dodge your friend for lunch, which is kind of cruel.
Yeah.
Or you can tell them, which the other person might, shoot the messenger.
Yeah.
Or you might sacrifice a friendship.
Yeah.
But you must be willing to either tell the person with love and kindness, this is something that you're doing a lot, and I'm sure it's making you ill, and I'm sure it's depleting you, but this is something that I've noticed, and I want you to know that I love you, and but the person might not feel depleted.
Yeah.
This is the thing. The person might actually enjoy doing it, because they think if they're complaining about all the good stuff, then nothing bad's going to happen. Whoa, that's a belief system that's very core.
That's an interesting one. I've not heard of that one.
You've never heard of that one? Oh, I've dealt with that one a lot with people.
Oh my God.
You have to be very, very acutely aware that you're doing it. So the people who know that they're doing it are people that know that they don't get past a certain level
of joy,
of joy, of abundance, of everything, because the complaining actually stops them manifesting.
huh?
So although they have this thing where they're complaining so that they don't have to entertain the other shoe dropping because they're complaining about it.
They've already
Yeah, because they're really frightened to be in the joy in case something happens. So they realize
to eliminate the surprise.
They realize it's stunted their growth because they're frightened of surprise, which the surprise being good, but they think it's going to blindside them because of something that's happened when they were little or whatever. It's very interesting.
Very layered.
Oh, you have no idea where the psyche can go.
Complicated characters.
In good ways as well. I mean, the things that we do to, bring on the magic as well is phenomenal.
That's the first time I'm hearing that, and it's very fascinating.
I'm sorry I haven't shared that one with you. That's a good one.
And the other one that I hear about energy is, because especially energy workers, energy healers, they say that you have to protect yourself when you are working for a client. And it's almost like a myth breaking right now. My podcast is evolving into energy myth breaking.
So here's the thing. Oh, how can I put this? There's a contrariness consciousness. Okay? A contradiction. Everything is in contradiction, right?
The duality.
So, if I say that I don't need protection, then I'm going to need protecting. Okay? And if I say that I need to protect myself always, then I'm constantly just doing all the work to protect myself, and then something else comes in, and I'm not trusting that I'm always protected. So, this is where it gets tricky. So, everybody loves a constant.
Okay, yes.
So I always have to protect myself.
Yeah.
Well, I never have to protect myself. It's neither one or the other. It's always knowing what I need in the moment, and if I need to put on my malas, my Peruvian opals that day, I'm just wearing a necklace, right? I'm not. But I'll lift it unconsciously to put on, or I'll lift my moonstones, or I'll take a piece of tourmaline with me, or I'll do an energy pool, or I'll say a mantra. Something in that moment is connecting me to something that I need to connect to. Whether that is called protection, or it's making me aware that I need to reconnect or deeper connect. Because every moment you're forgetting. Every moment you're forgetting.
You go on autopilot.
Yes. But in saying that, I never really, it's never at the forefront of my operating system that I need to protect myself. Shields up!
Yeah.
I don't go out the door with that mentality.
With the fear.
Because I already know I'm protected by an O.
Yeah. And that's faith.
But that doesn't mean that I don't have certain things that also protect me.
Yeah.
So it's tricky.
It is tricky. And it's fascinating because even for me, like some days I'll stage the house, but it's not like an everyday thing. Oh, I didn't stage my house, so I need to be worried about something bad happening today.
Well, yes, because that's going to tell you that you have an anxiety or a worry about something that is going back to something which is a behavior and a pattern. And that you need to clear. And because you'll know when you need to know.
Yeah.
Because, and here's the problem with this that people don't like to hear, is people like constants.
Yeah.
Well, if I'm always going to wear this and nothing bad's going to happen.
Oh, it's like my lucky interview shirt.
Yeah. The interview shirt, your thing above the door, nothing's going to happen. But then you become complacent. And you don't think that you need to, you know, protect yourself. So it's keeping you alive in the moment. It's kind of like, I see it as, you remember that documentary a few years ago, Man on a Wire, where you had the very famous Frenchman who was a tightrope walker. And that's what it is. Being conscious and being aware and being unaware is walking a tightrope, and it's balance. At any moment you could lose your breath, and in any moment a gust of wind could come, but you have to learn to be at one with the elements.
With the elements.
Connect in to the elements of that wind that's coming up, or whatever it is.
And the crystals, the sage, these are just elements that are already inherent. We're just connecting, like you said.
Yes.
You're tuning into that space.
Yes. Yes.
So,
you know, whether you believe that you need to take your St. Christopher with you on the plane, or your special blanket, or your meditation cushion to the thing, or whatever it is.
Yeah. That's interesting because that's like a most conflicting topic for energy workers, because that knowing, like, when am I inviting fear as opposed to when I'm just doing what I need to do because it's bringing me an awareness.
Because it's a knowing, it's an isness.
Yeah, it's the isness. In your experience, how have people's lives changed over time once they started being really aware and tuned into their energy?
Oh, because they don't wait for things to be physically manifested to get it.
It's already
in the need to wait for things to become emotionally manifested, of going into high anxiety and stress to know there's a problem. They energetically can feel it. It's kind of like seeing the smoke. Oh, I see the smoke. So there must be, oh, look, the frying pan's on fire. Rather than waiting till the house is burnt down.
That helps a lot.
So energy for me is like when you tweak it energetically, it changes things in the physical, rather than a lot of people like to work in the physical to fix the physical. And that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
But some people like that. But if things are becoming depleting or becoming, why am I doing this to myself? Why am I always having to sweep up after this and that? When I knew this, I could see this. There was always these red flags, and why do I ignore them all the time? Oh, I know why. So I need to look at this energetically, of why I'm allowing this to become the runaway train.
Wow. And sometimes it takes a series of repetitions to make us aware of that.
Yes, repetition is the most important thing to see the pattern. But you don't have to, if you're into awareness and mindfulness, for it to go into patterns to know that there's something misaligned or up or not correct.
It's like a radar detection.
With your thinking. So I know I don't need to have this go into disaster. It's like when people say, oh, I always knew that I should never have went into business with him. Then why did you? Oh, so that you could prove yourself right by all going to pot. Because you don't trust yourself. And you didn't listen to that inner voice. That energetic wisdom, that intelligence.
What can you recommend to our listeners to help them have better control of the energy? Because it sounds like we do participate in our energetic feelings and levels of what we feel from from time to time and moment to moment. So what are some simple things that our listeners can...
I think to tune into yourself every day. And when I say tune in, I mean having those moments in the car where you just, before you even start the engine, you can say, okay, I'm going to take a moment to tune in to me in this car, in this tank that I'm driving that's really a lethal weapon.
Yeah.
And it can be. And I'm going to tune into me rather than being on autopilot.
Yeah.
You can use that as a little ritual. You can tune into yourself by having a practice every day with, I'm going to do a mantra, or I'm going to say a certain prayer every day. I'm going to reset. I'm going to just focus on my breath.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to focus on my breath, and where am I holding my breath? Where am I gasping for breath? Where am I not breathing? So really kind of just learning different ways to tune in.
Mm-hmm.
Meditation, obviously.
To be
Taking time for yourself and what you need. What you need, and I think that's not what you want, what you need. Like at the weekend there, I needed to have Epsom salts in my bath.
Yeah.
Now, every single time.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know why. I don't know why I needed to. I could sit there and dissect who I was around and what was happening. I just knew that this is what I needed to bathe in.
Yeah.
To clear my field.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't analyze it. I just did it.
Yeah.
And I think there's too much analysis. Just do it.
Just doing it.
Just do it. You know that you need to do your 5 Tibetan rites every day, or you know you need to do some yoga. You know you need to. Then why are you denying yourself?
Or even simple things like drinking more water, or
coming
back on, 1 cup of coffee, just doing little things.
And it all comes back to self-love.
Yeah.
And feeding your own needs. Because when your needs are met, then you can meet other people's needs.
Yeah. No, this is very, very helpful, because with this day and age, even simple things like these might seem like you said about the willingness to start into a practice, to do little things, but it helps people to be like, oh, it's not that hard to take 5 deep breaths before I go into an important meeting. It's not difficult to, sit down and tune in before I start the engine and shut off my phone to get on the freeway. So I'm driving and I'm present with the car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, what am I listening to in the car?
Mm-hmm.
What am I listening to in the car? Like these radio stations that have commercials, and, what if I was to listen to classical music that I've never listened to before?
Yeah.
How would that change me energetically in the car?
Yeah.
What if I was to listen to no radio in the car, and now I can hear the radio in my head?
Oh, that's happened before, yes.
And then you can just, oh, there it is. Maybe I'll do some chanting. Yeah. And I don't care if you don't know any Indian chants. Just go, thank you, thank you, thank you. Do 100 thank yous. Do 100 wows. Wow. Wow. Do something that is going to focus your mind rather than other stimuli distracting your mind.
Yeah. And you're so right about that, because sometimes when I've had no radio or no music in my car, and it's quite a drive, like 45 minutes, there are some thoughts that emerge, because driving is such an automatic, subconscious thing now. It doesn't take much conscious awareness to change lanes, to get on the freeway, get off the freeway, and then this little sentences start coming up, or memories come back.
Yes.
Things I hadn't thought about in a long time. Sometimes
you will dismiss.
Yes.
Because you didn't catch it.
And it's
rather
almost
like,
like a whisper.
Interesting. What are you bringing that to the surface for?
Yes.
Oh, look at that.
And it's such a subtle whisper. It's not like, oh, I'm going to take the microphone.
Oh, it's always a subtle whisper. But then so are the best ideas.
Yes.
So are the best creative companies that have created amazing things. They're all subtle whispers.
Yes.
The intuition doesn't scream at you like as if it's doing some dance from the film La La Land. It is a whisper.
Yeah. And sometimes before you know it goes away, and you have to be really aware of where did it go? What was it? It's like a dream that came and went away.
Yeah.
No, thank you so much for this. This has been an interesting topic, especially I really am excited that this approach of energy healers helps more healers to go in and do the work that they need to do, because I feel sometimes people just take a step back because of their belief systems, and there is a way to look at it.
Well, I also think you have to look at your belief system, and this is especially to healers. I remember someone said to me years ago, after we had done a very long session of 3 hours, and this person said to me when we were leaving, the center together, she looked to me and she said, wow, you don't look washed out. You don't look depleted.
Mm-hmm.
And I says, why should I look depleted? It was your stuff.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, like she felt like she was
transferring her.
Yes, and depleting that. Oh, that must have been really heavy for you. No, it wasn't heavy for me, because then I was to then biofeedback for her that, oh yeah, I had to go and lie down after that. That was a lot of energy. That was so much of your trauma and pain, almost like justifying the weight.
Yeah, the magnitude.
Your stuff has just sent me to bed for a week. That's a very dangerous thing to get into.
Yeah.
So I was like, no, I'm going to go over to the stables and ride my horse.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, and almost like a little bit disappointed.
Oh, that it didn't affect you that way.
That it didn't affect me that much. I have my own practices.
Yeah.
I can handle whatever you're bringing to me, or I wouldn't be.
You have your own.
Working with you.
Yeah.
And I don't. And before you ask, I don't have a set ritual. I listen to whatever it is that it. If I need to go on a hike with my dogs, if I need to, I go to the ocean. If I need to do, more yoga, if I need to do more meditation, I just know, and I tune into that knowing.
So then even for our audiences is, in terms of a practice, asking yourself, what is it that I need to do today to feel fulfilled, to feel alive?
I might need an EFT session. I might need to Reiki myself. I might need to go up to the mountains.
Mm-hmm.
But I know.
Yeah. It's not a step one.
And that is important for me to know, because you don't need to know what I need. Mm-hmm. I need to know. Mm-hmm. And when I don't give myself what I need, then how can I help other people?
Yeah. It's almost like you turn self-resentful.
So I have to value what I need. Yeah. Or I could be like, well, I knew that I needed to go up to Idlewild, or I knew that I needed to go up to Ojai, but I didn't because I was so busy with all these. Oh, there's the martyr.
Yeah.
Because I don't value myself. My needs are not. That's be putting other people's needs in front of my needs.
Yes. Yeah. We'll do another one.
Again, it's a balance. Again, it's a balance.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this has been very fascinating. And to our audiences, if you have any other questions about, if you feel like there is some, quote unquote negative or toxic energy, and you need to ask us a question and see what else is going on behind that surface, please write back to us on Facebook. Our Facebook page is Pause and Joy. And thank you for listening and sharing our podcast and giving us the amazing love feedback. And thank you, Patti, for opening an understanding about energy, and especially for healers, what it means to protect ourselves or be aware about ourselves.
Yes. Well, I hope it is helpful, and people take something from it that they can use. What about using and being practiced?
Apply in our day-to-day life when they see another client today, or even like for yoga teachers or a Zumba dance class teacher, because they're holding the space for other people, but then being aware on what they need right after that.
Yes. Yes.
Well, thank you so much, Patti.
Thank you.
Love you.
Love you. Love to everyone.